All right, so we're going to start the harissa paste. For those of you that aren't familiar, harissa is going to be like a North African, Middle Eastern, like red pepper paste. It's going to have some spices.
Thinking.
Sorry. A lot of things I do, like basically, we work with what we got. You know, I'm gonna recipes I work on. I'm not gonna build a whole new order guide for things. You know what I mean? Like all these different chilies. We have a good different blend. I based this recipe off of an old Jimmy recipe, something in his book. We didn't have any of the peppers in the recipe, so I used peppers we had at Driftwood, and just a few different things to kind of separate it. You know, make it a little unique. And this is even a slightly different rendition. This one's accurate, okay? Except we didn't put this in there because you're not eating. So this is sun-dried tomatoes. We're gonna toast our chilies. You can do this in your salamander, your broiler, very lightly. These are the dried guajillos, dried chipotles. I did cut them into small pieces. We have our garlic over here. In our oil. Our slightly toasted chilies, toasting them is just going to open them up a little bit. It'll make them a little more tender. So we're going to be toasting chilies, garlic, oil. The oil we gave you in the recipe is not going to cover the chilies. It's going to just kind of come up. You want to keep moving them around. What you're going to be looking for is the garlic in this recipe is going to start like getting tender. Almost like roasted, a little bit caramelized on the outside. When you test it, it'll be like kind of mushy, you know? And what I was getting at with this harissa recipe is, so it's typically you're gonna have like red peppers. Honestly, I don't like store-bought harissa. It doesn't always taste that great. I thought this recipe was cool. Using these dried Mexican chilies. Preserved lemon is going to be a pretty special ingredient in this. Preserved lemons basically buried in salt and sugar, and then stored in a brine liquid. They're going to be a little acidic, definitely going to have a lot of salt, so there isn't too much other salt added in this recipe. We're going to have more of that, the Fresno ferment that we were talking about, that I made that aioli with earlier. Sun-dried tomatoes. But again, this isn't in the version in your guys' book. This is in basically we wanted it very concentrated, I'll put it that way, for this dish. We took the peppers and the tomatoes out of the recipe. So that's what you'll be having tonight. At the restaurant, we do put these peppers in, no matter what. But at the restaurant, we add roasted red peppers and sun-dried tomatoes to stretch it out, and it gets mixed with some Carolina conch peas. So we got our garlic kind of frying and roasting. It's going to get a little tender. The chilies as well. I have some spices right here. We're going to have caraway, coriander, cumin. Honestly, whole spices are going to work out best. I didn't have whole cumin, so we're going to be using powdered today. In this recipe, or in this dish, you actually be having the harissa. We rubbed it on the outside of the short rib. We then grilled the short rib and steamed it afterward. So almost like we did brine the short rib first. But the harissa was going to be a paste on the outside. You'll also get a little bit on this Happy Rich. So there's some Happy Rich from Kai Kai. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Happy Rich. It's like Diane's broccolini. It's shorter. It's a little bit sweeter. It's really cool. We love it. We do use it anytime she ever has it. Happy Rich is a staple on our menu this time of the year. We'll do like veggie dishes, steak dishes, fish dishes, anything. And broccolini. All right, we're almost getting there with our garlic. It's getting a little bit toasty, roasty. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit. Yeah. Cool. So we did the florets basically are going to have that harissa. We roasted them on the wood fire plancha right before you all got here. And the stems we'd sliced and made somewhat of like a salsa verde, so like a very herbaceous sauce. Gonna have some olive oil, lemon zest, chili. Pretty simple, but like nice, like extra green, you know. The parsley blanched is gonna add, like, really brighten it up, bring out the chlorophyll, activate the chlorophyll actually. I lost the chili. All right, we're looking good over here. At this stage, I'm gonna take my Fresno ferment, my spices. I'm gonna add those spices in right now. I want them to toast a little bit. Yeah, I think I didn't really finish explaining what I was saying and why I didn't do the same recipe. So we wanted it very concentrated. We wanted it really seasoned because we knew it was going to make it, how much of it was going to make it to the short rib on the plate at the end of the whole cooking process. Like I was saying, after we grill it, then after we steam it, renders out a ton of fat. So we just wanted the flavors to really shine through. And we're pretty good here. I'm going to go ahead and add in the blender. Let it cool off a little bit first while you guys enjoy. Yeah, there's the harissa on the short rib and also on the florets of the Happy Ridge.
And about these short ribs right here, so we're always looking for, again, new, whatever local products that are around us that we're not already using or familiar with. These short ribs are actually from a ranch called Quincy Cattle. They're up in Chiefland, Florida, and we've been able to. It took since around the time we opened, we've been trying to get a steady supply of locally raised. Between pork and beef, it's always difficult because usually you have to take the whole animal. So for us, if we have been able to get some whole pigs and stuff like that, but it's just not practical for us to be able to process a whole animal at a restaurant on a regular basis. So we were really excited. We were finally, all of our beef products are coming from Quincy Cattle, which we are super excited about. And aside from just being local from Florida, it is really exceptionally good quality beef products. So that was just something that we are really excited about. That's kind of like a newer thing. We've always been able to kind of like source some products, some certain cuts here and there from different local places, but having a consistent ranch that actually knows, we know the cows that we're getting the beef products from. So that's also a really special thing that we're really excited about. So. Yeah. And these short ribs, they're not braised and glazed and like falling apart. These should be fork tender. So what Tommy was saying, we did brine them for about 4 days, and then we took that harissa, that really concentrated harissa paste, and we rubbed them on it and let them sit overnight before we grilled and steamed them. And so what that's going to yield is a more of a fork tender texture rather than just that completely falling apart short rib. So that's where it's in the brine also, just the process of brining it is going to change the texture a little bit. So it's kind of like a meatier short rib than what a lot of people are used to when they think short rib. But a lot of times they just think that really saucy, very, very tender braised short rib.
All right, I'm going to blend this harissa up. So again, back in our blender that Nat cleaned out for me. Thank you, Nat. So the sun-dried tomatoes, like I said, not on your recipe. I did bring them just to kind of show you guys. I'm gonna taste it, and then you just kind of go from there. You know, if you. It tastes pretty good. Tastes pretty right. And I do rehydrate them before I put them in the harissa. And I use sun-dried tomatoes for this recipe specifically. I might have red stuff in my mouth, sorry. I use sun-dried tomatoes because it's going to be it's going to be pretty concentrated. So again, I'm going to use the word umami. It's like the fifth flavor. Very savory. Basically what MSG tastes like. Natural MSG is what you're going to find in sun-dried tomatoes, shiitake mushrooms. I think it elevates the recipe a little bit. And then it'll be up to you at this point, however strong you want it to taste, spice-wise, salt-wise. Needs a little bit of salt, actually. Oh, wait. Could just put more preserved lemon. All right, cool. I don't know if you heard, but the blender was working a little bit harder that time around. Those sun-dried tomatoes. That's why I like to rehydrate them. It just helps blend it up a little bit easier. Great. All right, cool. We're done with that. We're done with the blender today.
The harissa, that's definitely something that you can use. I mean, absolutely
All kinds of
anything.
things.
Yeah.
We've never used it in this way. Again, it's one of those things that we're just like, let's. Well, what was it? No, I just was doing the harissa conch peas. That's what it was. We just did the new swordfish set, or I guess meatier fish, so like amberjack, swordfish. We did do some of the blackfin tuna on it. We're gonna use these nice Carolina conch peas from Marsh Hen Mills. And I guess you can use like black-eyed peas, or there's Sea Island red peas, those sorts of legumes. Really any beans you want, honestly. And yeah, I was stewing the peas with the harissa. And we serve it with the fish. And I think I was just kind of like on a harissa kick that week. And I was like, yo, we should make this harissa for the short rib. And he was like, we'll make it stronger, taste stronger. Like, all right, we'll take out the tomatoes and the peppers.
Now, my sister, she's vegan. She's been vegan for 25 years. And she's also been to every single restaurant I've worked at in the USA. Like, followed me around. So I've always had to get really creative with different things. But she's really big. Like, she'll like say it's like something like chickpeas or a certain vegetable. She will cook, like for herself at home, she'll cook like large quantities of like certain things. And then she will have just like boatloads of different condiments or like really strong flavor bomb things that she can kind of like, she could have like the same thing, the same like base vegetable or starch or something like that, like, and have it three completely different ways. So harissa is one of those things that she loves spice too. So she would have like a really, really aggressively spicy one, and she's made her own before. So it's just one of those things that we thought would be a cool thing to have in your fridge, just because you can use it. You can use a little bit. You could use it, as more like a less spicy component. You could use it more as like a spoon into a stew or chili would be amazing. So it's just one of those things that's very versatile, and it doesn't really go bad. I mean, it probably will go bad eventually, but it'll definitely last for plenty of time in your fridge. And it's like a trick you have up your sleeves. You can put together like a really quick meal, just having like a few different components like that. So that's why we thought it would be cool to include that. The pickles as well. Just one of those things you can have in your fridge, so it kind of makes it easy to throw a meal together really fast.
So the eggplant was actually charred with skin on, not necessarily fully cooked. The skin can get destroyed. Like, you're gonna char the hell out of it. It's gonna be black. It's gonna be like peeling off, chipping off. In this case, we did smoke it to cook it through the rest of the way. If you don't have a smoker, that's fine. You can just get it tender. in your oven. Like you can steam it with some foil. So it's gonna have the smokiness this time around. We did something different. We usually like to do like a baba ganoush, but this time we did more of like a miso tahini. So there's gonna be some white miso paste, a little bit of garlic, less garlic than we would typically. So again, another prototype. The turn upside down cake.